It's because you ate your Wheaties that morning.
Man, I don't think I ate. What did I eat that morning?
No, I'm just saying that used to be like the breakfast of champions or something. You got to eat your Wheaties. It's like the most disgusting cereal in the world.
I know.
But anyway,
it's just like wheat.
It's like bran.
Yeah, bran. You're just like, like, who eats this?
It leaves that candle wax like on the inside of your mouth.
There's not even sugar in it. You're just like,
that's gross.
Yeah, it's like taking like whole grain bread and like putting milk on it and going, here you go. Welcome to the show with no name. I am B, aka Brendan. He is Daniel. Daniel, last episode you had asked, we're gonna do housekeeping first before we actually get into what the topic of the day is.
Oh, we haven't done any housekeeping before. This is new.
I know we haven't done it, but it's I'd actually thought of the topic based on the housekeeping that I was going to do, but then I decided, no, we'll do something else. But it is funny that the amount of times after we've recorded an episode, that as the week goes by, I will encounter something that we talked about. For example, something like I'll see a cool movie preview after our preview episode. Or I'll see some kind of grammar thing online or some Craigslist ad or whatever after some of the stuff that we've done.
Sure.
And yesterday, I'll get, this is the first one, and then I actually have two. I have a second one. The first one I'll do. Yesterday, as I was driving into work, I actually thought of a perfect name for our podcast. And that is not that we could, I love the name, but if we had to change, if we're absolutely forced to change it, I think this would be the best name. Other than bite-sized nonsense.
Before you say it, though, I think you should probably preference with saying that the last episode, that's what we talked about. Because we don't know, it may not be ordered, but the last one that we recorded had to do with renaming the show. Like, if we had to come up with another name for this specific show, what would we call it? And you came up with this brilliant name on the drive into work. Now I'm anxious to hear it.
The name is Hashtag. Because that's exactly what we are, because you just stick a hashtag in front of whatever topic, right? People just hashtag things. And so you just hashtag topic of the day. That's what we would be. Now somebody's maybe already called hashtag.
There's probably, I'd probably beg to argue that there's probably quite a few people with that name. But that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad title at all. I will say this, though. I definitely feel like, depending on how long we do this for, like, I don't know. I'm not saying that we're necessarily going to be around as long as, like, Howard Stern has been around. That I don't know.
We're younger.
We are younger. But I'm just saying, I don't know if this show will last as many years as, like, some of these talk show hosts. How long was Prairie Home Companion on?
Oh, that thing will be gone. Yeah, with Garrison Keillor. I think he still does it, doesn't he?
No, the show. I don't think the shows exist anymore. I think they just do reruns now. I think the show's done. To my understanding, I thought it was done.
I'll have to look that up.
But I could be wrong. Anyway, the point of what I was trying to say is that the longer that we do this, hashtag has not always been a thing, and I have a feeling it's not always going to be a thing. It was definitely something that Twitter brought along, which perfect time to plug our wonderful Twitter account. You can find us at Texas Waffles on Twitter. If you have a question or want something to be featured in our feedback or housekeeping for future episodes, feel free to drop us a tweet or send us virtual cookies. Because
I like that, yeah. Or real cookies.
Or real cookies.
We
don't have really a way for you to send them. I don't really feel comfortable giving you an address, and
I know we don't have a post
I don't
office
think
box.
we're popular enough to set up a post office box. We'd be like, hey, what did you get in your post office box this month? Dust. Just I got a nice dust collection. But anyway, so that was the first housekeeping item.
Prairie Home Companion is still running.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
It's still running. So the second housekeeping item that I have is, a while back we did a Kickstarter episode. And let me load it up here. And you talked about what your idea was, and I got an email from them. It turns out, I remember I said I get emails from them once a month. Well, it's once a week. Again, it's not a big deal. And one of the projects that we love that is featured is, and this is perfect for the show that we did on Kickstarting, recycled wine barrel longboards.
What?
Yeah, so they're longboards and they're made out of recycled wine barrel planks.
That's crazy.
So, right, they take the wine barrels apart. So they take the metal off, and off the metal they make bracelets, some kind of jewelry.
That's
they
awesome.
They make like wine opener, corkscrew kind of things. And
this sounds like a perfect thing for hippies.
It's from New Zealand, and the two people look like hippies that are running it. But it was really, really neat, and they had these different designs of them and whatever. Anyway, I thought this is perfect because Daniel specifically said I would make a longboard Kickstarter, and I'm like,
I would make a longboard Kickstarter. Absolutely. No, I think I would want it to be, like I said, it would be an automated one. So this isn't necessarily automated, but that still sounds amazing, and I kind of want to go check it out now.
It is.
But
So it's only up there for 9 more days as of
by the time
that
this
we're
episode
recording this.
airs,
But by the time that
yeah.
now. I will say this about Kickstarter, that a lot of the successful ones still have quote-unquote pledge managers. So, for example, one of the ones that I pledged, let's see, it's the Reaper Bones 3. I pledged for it back in, oh gosh, when was it? March or April of 2015. And it's a year later, and their pledge manager is still open.
Wow.
Yeah, so like a year. So some of their pledge managers will last weeks, months. In the case of
now, this is so if people want to keep donating.
Exactly. So, I mean, they've met their goal, and
That's
then they
crazy.
have a pledge manager thing going, and like, hey, I still want to donate, and you can donate X money, and you're like, hey, these are the extra amount of money I'm going to give because I want this unlocked stretch goal, and I want this and this
awesome.
added to me as well. Yeah, so I think that's really
awesome.
cool when they do stuff like that. So moving away from that and getting into the topic of the day, before we actually get to the question that I have for you, I actually am going to have you take a quiz. Now don't...
Oh, no.
No. Don't freak out because I didn't come up with any of these questions and there's no right or wrong answers to them.
Oh, I like it when their answers are subjective. I was talking about this earlier. You and I both have the same degree. We have a degree in communication arts.
This is true.
And I feel like all throughout college, any course that I took, tests were subjective. Like your answers were subjective because communication arts in general is not an objective degree. It's a very subjective degree to where as long as you can prove that 2 + 2 = 5, then you're right.
That's
as long as
exactly
you
right.
can prove it, so I like subjective answers. So please continue.
All right, here we go. So this is which superhero would you be? You ready?
Gosh.
So I'm going to ask you, I think it's 16 questions. I have not gone through this, so I don't know.
Are you going to do this test too afterwards, or is it just,
If
for me?
If you want me to, I'll do this. What I should have done is I should have done the test before we aired. That way we don't have to bore the listeners. Okay, so ready?
Is this where we come up with we're experiencing technical difficulties?
Yes, exactly. We'll pause and then we'll be like, okay, Brennan's answers are, all right, ready? Question 1 of 16. Would you be male or female? And the answers are male, female. I don't care. Gender doesn't matter for a superhero.
I don't know. I feel like I definitely want to be male. Yeah, I'm a male.
male.
Listen, I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
I have a Y chromosome.
What would the colors of your costume be? Ready? So I have to read these to you. Dark colors that help me blend into the shadows. Bright colors or metallic silver and gold, something dramatic and inspiring. Earth tones like green, gray, or brown, something that blends in with nature. Why limit myself? I'll wear whatever I feel like at the moment. E, as long as it's all one color, I'm good.
Ooh. So one color, so it could just be I'm just yellow, just straight down.
You're yellow man.
Not that that's my favorite color or anything. I'd look like a banana.
You would
just running around the streets.
Like Slender Man, just straight yellow Slender Man.
Just straight yellow Slender Man. I feel like that would be like a party. Those how he has really long arms. It's like one of those inflatable arm things. That's what that would be. Slenderman in Slenderman in a yellow would be one of those inflatable characters.
Sail.
At least Slenderman knows. At least he knows what he can live up to.
If he fails as a horror spook, he can always have a backup plan of selling cars. He can stand at the car lots or the sales. And have his.
That's
okay,
right.
Never mind.
That's
that
right.
Joke fell on it.
If I was a superhero, I feel like I'd want to be darkened in the shadows. I like that first dance. I feel like that's just gonna point me right to Batman, but I don't.
It's all right.
But
I don't know how many different. I went through 2, and they're there's only 6 choices of superheroes or whatever. I'm like, no, I want multiple.
I just wouldn't want to be. I'd want to be the hero that nobody really knows about. Like I'd want to be like I'd either be that or I'd be the exact opposite. Give me the flashy colors, like the metallic, like I shine, and I would just stand out in public all the
like
time,
Gene
just
Simmons
like hey,
kiss kind of thing?
like look at me exactly. Yeah, so I'd be one or the other. I know those are complete polar opposites, but I picked dark.
Could you fly? Ready? A, of course, that's the best part of being a superhero. B, no, but I'd have a really cool vehicle. C, no, but I'd have another power I'd use to get around. D, no, but I'd mostly get around by running and acrobatics.
D.
D, acrobatics. All right. Would you have super strength? A, yes. Strength would be your big thing. B, yes, but it would be just one of your powers. C, no, but I'd have other powers. D, no, but skills and intelligence be strength any day.
That's hard.
This determines who you are.
I think this is going to be B. I have it, but it's not my only power.
It's one of your only powers. Gotcha. How would you get your powers? A, it would be because of a strange accident. B, I'd be born with them. C, they would be a gift someone trusted me with. D, I, or a scientist friend, would invent something to give me powers. E, I would train myself until I had all the skills I needed.
I like E.
Train yourself?
Yeah, I like training.
What is your reason for becoming a superhero? I believe in A, I believe in upholding the law and order and being a good citizen. B, I suffered a tragedy and want to save others from new tragedies. C, because being a hero is exciting and cool, man. I inserted the man part there. D, I'm really not interested in being a hero. I'd rather be left alone, but I'd keep getting pulled into situations. E, to atone for the terrible things I did in the past.
This sounds selfish, but I think based off of the idea of like just being a superhero in general, I wouldn't want to be someone who's in the light all the time. So it's not necessarily that I wouldn't want to help people out and I'd feel like I'm getting dragged into it. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to be a part of it all the time. I wouldn't want to be like, everyone's depending on me all the time. Just kind of more like, oh, hey, some mass dude helped out. Like, we're good.
So D, I'm really not interested.
I'm D. I'm not really interested in being a hero.
I would pick the same one. What would the source of your power be? A, magic. B, science and technology. C, harmony with nature. D, developing my skills to the highest level.
D.
Would you have any special weapons or tools? A, no, I prefer to rely on my own abilities. B, yes, I'd have lots of gadgets. C, yes, I'd have one, but I would still have powers even if I lost it. D, I'd have one special tool and I'd be powerless without it.
C, I'd have one and it'd be a lightsaber.
So you wouldn't be powerless with it. You're still a Jedi.
Still a Jedi.
How would you keep from getting hurt? A, I could be hurt, but my wounds would heal amazingly fast. B, I'd be pretty much invulnerable to harm. C, my powers would make it almost impossible for anyone to touch or catch me unless I let them. D, I'd have some sort of armor or shield to protect me. E, I'd use my strength and agility to stay out of harm's way.
I like E.
E?
E.
I'd use stealth and agility?
Yes.
You're like leaning in the Batman direction, you know that?
I'm not trying to, though. I'm really not trying to. I know it's gonna say Batman in the end.
Would you be a champion of law and order? Yes, I'd have a criminal past, but have reformed. That was A, by the way. B, yes, I'd do my best to enforce the law and to follow it as well. C, I'd be a good citizen and stop lawbreakers, but a lot of people would think I was an outlaw despite that. D, I'd be basically a good citizen, but breaking the rules is a lot of fun, man. Following the law and doing the right thing aren't always the same. I'll break the law if I think it's wrong.
I don't want to lean more Batman, but that last one sounds good.
You got it, brother. Would you have a secret identity? A, yes. It would give my enemies too much of an advantage if people knew who I really was. B, yes. But it wouldn't be a big deal if people found out who I was. C, no, my superhero identity would be my own identity. D, no, I don't see a point in having a secret identity.
I think the one that says, like, my superhero identity would be my identity, that's kind of leaning in the Hancock direction.
Yeah,
like that's just
true.
That's just who he is.
That's who I am.
I can't think of any other superhero that might be true. But then again, I didn't really pay attention to a lot of... I'm not really into superheroes all that much, so I don't know if I can really say. Because I went with the shadowy one, I'd have to say that my identity is important. If I went the opposite of what I said before, With the big flashy, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, nah, if everyone knows me, who cares? I mean, I'll still wear a mask because I think it looks cool, but I don't care if people know me. But I have to go with, yes, of course I have a secret identity.
What is the way you would prefer to deal with villains? A, I'd like to get up close and overpower them. B, I'd like to hang back and zap them from long range. C, I'd like to outthink them and outmaneuver them. D, I'd believe in peaceful solutions and would only fight if there was no choice.
I like the intellect answer. C.
Outthinking them? You got it.
Outthinking them.
All right, 4 more to go. What would your attitude be when confronting evildoers? A, calm and professional. B, dark and mysterious. C, angry. D, I like to keep it light with jokes and clever banter. I'm reading all these, and I don't know. I can tell like what each one leans towards. Like,
I know I can tell like which each superhero leans towards already.
Superman, Spider-Man, Green Lantern,
Deadpool. You know, like I go with the last one. I'd probably try to
light
because I always thought that was one of my things that I always laughed. I always thought was funny about Deadpool and Spider-Man is that they always talk when they fight. I just always thought that was funny.
Are you a team player? A, I prefer working on a team. B, I can work on a team as long as I'm in charge. C, teams are too big. I like working with 1 or 2 partners. D, isn't that a team? Whatever. D, I work best on my own.
I'm only going to say D because I hate the world of having superheroes team up. I wish that all superheroes lived in their own worlds and they didn't combine with each other. I just feel like that makes it too difficult and it makes it impossible to really think about. I'd rather think about one person has this crazy story that they're able to do this. Kind of like when you have people who have do these amazing feats and they do like these world records and you're like, dude, no one will ever do anything like that again because no one ever was built like that and no one ever will be, type of thing. So that's how I feel about it.
So 2 questions left. Where would you live? A, in an ordinary house or apartment. B, a luxurious mansion or penthouse apartment. C, a dormitory or estate where I live with other members of my team, which you've already ruled out. D, I wander a lot and don't really have a home.
D.
Last question. How's your love life? A, there would be one special person and we would love each other. B, I would date a lot and not have anyone special. C, there would be a special person, but ... it would be complicated. D, even if I were interested in dating, who has time? E, I fall in love a lot, but it never works out.
A, having one special person.
All right, here we go. You are... Take a guess at who you are. You want to take a guess at who you are? Or did I just read it?
Sure, go ahead. I'm not Batman, am I?
You got Aquaman.
Oh my God. Just end the episode right now. No, we're done. Let's go home. We're done. We don't need to do anything more. Don't even read the description. I don't even want to know.
I won't read it. There's too much.
Oh my God.
3 paragraphs of stuff.
3 paragraphs? What else? What can
I'm
you
like,
talk
there
about?
aren't
He
even
talks
3
about
comic
fish.
books that have Aquaman in it, man. 3 paragraphs.
That's what? Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that sucks. Oh,
All right.
That really sucks.
So moving. So that leads into my question for if you could have, and I'm not going to go with 1. If you could have any 2 superpowers.
Oh, I get to choose 2?
2, yeah, not just 1. Because I always thought 1 was lame. Like I'd fly. Okay, well, what can you do with flying, right? If you get any 2 superpowers, what would they be?
That's I mean, I feel like taking the flying one is a cheap one. But I also feel like it's the one that everyone really wants because it's like one of the things that people can't do, and it's, I mean, I don't, when you ask people the same question, like, what animal would you like to be? 9 times out of 10 people say a bird, but it's only because the bird can fly. It has nothing to do other than that. It's just that the birds can actually fly and they think that's kind of cool. I won't say flying just yet because I want to think of a cooler one. Not that I think about these on a regular basis, but there is a superpower that I'd love to have. If I had a superpower and I was actually using it in the superhero sense, I want the ability to slow down time. Like I don't want to be able to stop time. I don't believe in stopping time, and here's why. Here's why I don't believe in stopping time, because I don't want to completely control someone's, to control something. And I feel like stopping it is giving you that ability to do so. I want to be able to slow it down so much that it is moving really slowly, but I can't alter and I can't go back. So even though I can slow down time, and that'll make me run really fast too, because I can run while it's, slow, and I can, run across. I still have to run. I still have to run across the, like the city or something like that to get to the other side, and I'm going to be dead tired by the time I get there.
If you're running at normal speed, you're like,
yep.
This is going to take me a couple days, even though technically days have stopped.
Days have stopped.
So you would, I guess you wouldn't.
It might take an hour or something. Who knows? But I would be dead tired. You're going to be dead tired, either way. And then I feel like I'm working for it. I feel like, and I'd feel more honest about saving. So I remember seeing a movie. I didn't see the movie, but I saw a trailer that kind of related to this. It was something about these kids that got superpowers, and they were able to.
Is this with their mind? They could telekinesis. There are three.
I don't remember, but they could slow down time. They thought they could stop time. But in the trailer, they show that no, you can't stop time. You can just slow it down. And the reason that they found this out is because they saw a fly, and they saw that his wings were still moving. And they go, oh, we can't stop time. We've just slowed it down significantly. It just felt like we stopped time because no one else was moving fast enough that you could tell. Type of thing. Which means there's still consequences, and there's still real life situations that you may not be able to prevent because of your lack of speed, but you can still do something about it. And that's what I think. That's why I find that power really cool. But I don't know if I want to say my second one because I want to think about it some more. Did you have two superpowers that you want to have?
I've had one that I've had my whole life that I've wanted, and that's invulnerability. But not invulnerability in the sense of like Deadpool or Wolverine where they just regenerate. Those are two superheroes I hated. I'm talking invulnerability.
Well, there goes all of our audience.
I know they all hate.
You just insulted like two but those are like two of the most popular comic book heroes. So
yeah, well, so Deadpool's fairly recent. When I collected as a kid, he didn't even exist.
That's okay. That is true.
Wolverine was not when I collected as a kid. He was nowhere as popular as he is now. It was totally different. And one of the reasons that I couldn't stand Wolverine was A, his attitude. His attitude is like the complete opposite of my attitude. And B, all of the people who liked him were people that I don't want to say I didn't like, but they're all the things that they stood for in life. I'm like, I'm against all of those things. They were kind of like jerks.
So it's kind of more. Wolverine got a bad rap, not just because of his personality, but guilty by association.
Yeah, exactly.
Based off of the people who liked him that you knew personally.
Right.
Like it just didn't sit well with you.
There were aspects in the comic books that I liked about him. I was like, oh, that's cool and this and that. But as a whole, I was just like, I can deal without. And I just never liked Deadpool.
What's the actor's name who plays Wolverine in all the movies? Hugh Jackman, that's his name. I couldn't think of it.
Hugh Jackman spit on a Wolverine mask at Comic-Con.
Did he really?
The guy was going to sell it for $1,000.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh, that was my thing. That was yours. That sounded real, though.
It did.
That sounded real for a minute.
See previous episode reference, blah, 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 blah. So the invulnerability that I would have is my skin couldn't rip, right? So I couldn't get cut. I couldn't get punched. Or I couldn't get shot. My bones wouldn't break. And like it's just my skin is like completely like if you threw acid on me, it wouldn't burn, but I would still feel pain. So like if you kicked me off of a building, like a 14-story building, I would like scream because I know at the bottom I would slam into that, but I would still be conscious and in one piece, right? So I'd get up and I'd be like, "Oh man, that hurt." Right? Would
it be like an "oh man, that hurt" like you fell out of bed? Or an "oh man, that hurt" like I fell off of a 140-story building.
No, imagine like...
And I should have internal bleeding, but I don't.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of thing. Like if the thing stepped on your head, right, because I'm invulnerable, so my bones won't crush under his 2-ton mass or whatever he is, right? And my skin won't break.
For those of you that don't know comic books, the Thing is part of the Fantastic Four, a big, hulky, rock-looking thing similar to the Hulk. You might know him from the Avengers. Keep going.
I should have said, like, the Hulk.
The Hulk probably would have been better.
Fantastic Four.
But most people don't know that. I feel like more people know who the Hulk is versus
right, the Hulk. So if the
because
Hulk
because of the what do they call it? It's the MCU, the Marvel Comic Universe.
Oh, I hadn't heard of that analogy.
I think that's what they call it. The MCU? That's what they're referring to it now. But
they're saying MCU now.
But now they're saying it. They're calling it the MCU because of the movies that are all coming out as a result of it. And they're all tie in together. Like you have to watch all the different ones to understand like little minute details about villains and stuff. And
they've created a different universe with the movies because I'm like that character is not like that. This character isn't that way, and that's not his history anyway. blah blah blah.
Welcome to Hollywood. I mean, this is
true,
why we
right.
didn't. This is why we didn't do movie reviews, because
They redo everything.
we would be so pessimistic if we did movie reviews.
Like the first Batman's, I'm like, that's not his hit anyway. Blah blah blah. So this was, and I was going to write a story about this guy, and he was going to be called quote unquote. And let me go back some. So I was going to write a story about him. It was a cross between Watchmen and I guess Marvel, because superheroes have been outlawed. Because it's my firm belief, if you had superpowers, you would use them for yourself. And when I say you, I don't mean you, Daniel. I mean you plurally. People would use it to get fame, to get women,
Absolutely.
to get whatever. Right? They just check me out, look how awesome I am, whatever. And so superhero powers were outlawed. Like, you can't play sports, right? You can't just be like, I'm the Flash and I'm your wide receiver and phew, and I'm already in the end zone. All I gotta do is just throw the ball and I got it down there, right? So they outlaw all this stuff, and they're not outlawing the people. They're just saying you can't use these powers for self-benefit. And so they're called freaks. They're called freaks because they're like a freak of nature. You're born that way.
Sure.
And so this guy is quote unquote the freak. Because he doesn't have any, his powers, like, he's just invulnerable.
You're giving away a great idea for people are going to make this, but and they're not going to cite
I can always point back to this podcast and go, we
published
it
true.
First. I want his $975 million that he made off of my idea.
That's true. There will be a date on this recording. So
I don't
copyright laws beware.
Exactly. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. So but that's just one problem, and I think it's a blessing and a curse, because he can fight any supervillain, yet at the same time he can't fight them, right? He doesn't have a power like, I have super strength to knock this door down, or you can't stop me, but I can't do anything to get you.
We need to find. I wouldn't make this into a comic book. Make this a graphic novel.
That's what I really wanted to do, but
you need to find an artist.
I needed to find an artist to draw.
And then you need to draw up a storyboard in it, or not a storyboard, but a first draft for.
And go, hey, look at that.
This is called the Freaks, dude. I can see it right now. It'll turn into the Freak. I'm sorry, but I thought you said the whole thing would be called the Freaks.
Well, no, they're called freaks. In Watchmen, they're called masks. In this world, they're called freaks, and it's closer to this. It's a lot just like this world, right? It's called freaks, and so you have people who are hiding their superpowers because they don't want to be chastised or whatever. And I guess similar to kind of like an X-Men thing. So they're called freaks, and he is the freak because he kind of gets found out by accident, and so people kind of call, hey, can you do this, whatever? And he's just trying to live his life. He's like, man, I just want to live my life, and why does this stuff happen? And the Hollywood comes to him and they're like, all these, you could be our greatest stuntman in the world and make money and blah, 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 blah. And the government tries to kidnap him to use it. And he's like, I don't want to deal with any of this stuff. So that was. But
he doesn't have any superpowers. So how does he, aside from, not feeling pain, how did the government not catch him? This is diving way too far into it, but how did they not get him?
I haven't fully got to that. I think that was things like they wanted him, not necessarily kidnap him, but they wanted him. And he's just like, I don't want anything to do with you. And
I don't know. Thinking about government makes me think that they'd probably just kidnap him anyway.
Yeah, they would just say okay, we're going to make your life a living hell until you actually sign this contract. So we're auditing all of your taxes. You got them all.
All right, this is going the wrong way for this podcast.
Right, exactly. So the second
what's your other
power?
To be,
and I actually thought of this this morning as I'm driving in. I'm like, I don't have a second power. I need
a
second power to help him fight. Like, I shoot lasers out of my teeth or something.
So you're putting a second power to the same character then,
right?
Is what you're saying?
Well, no, not to that. So for that, throw that aside. Throw the freak aside, right? So if it was me, what two would I take? I would take that invulnerability one, and then I'm like, what else would I take? I would take something where I'm like, I have some form of offensive ability where I could shoot lasers out of my fingertips, or my fingernails would detach like shurikens and I could just shoot them at you.
I already know right now, and I would be really surprised if she made it this far into the episode, but my girlfriend actually started listening to our podcast this week. She hadn't listened to him, so thank you, Renee, if you've made it this far into this episode, which I highly doubt she made it this far, because the first thing that she told me after listening to the first couple was
I'm the massive Deadpool fan?
No, she's like, you guys are so nerdy. You guys mention Star Wars every single episode. And now we just spent, 20 minutes talking about comic books and superheroes. I don't think she made it this far. Renee, if you are listening, I'm not a huge comic book fan. This is Brendan's question. Don't throw this on me, please. That being said, though, I still like the prospect and the idea of having a superpower. I think that's really cool. When I say that, okay, first off, I agree with you on what you said just a minute ago. You said that anybody who has superpowers, I feel like they would immediately have selfish intentions.
Sure.
I just feel like that's human nature, and I don't say that
Right.
to be pessimistic
Right, no,
or
exactly.
even just. I don't want to make that sound like I have a sad opinion on society. I just feel like a lot of superheroes, and well, not a lot of them, but I feel like some superheroes in their origin stories and stuff like that, they even show the character acting very selfish towards himself. I think Hancock was probably a perfect example of that,
Right.
which was that even a comic book before? I didn't even think it was a
I don't
comic
know.
book.
I
I thought
don't
that was
think
just
so.
a standalone story.
I think you're right.
If you are not a comic book fan, Hancock is a perfect movie for you to watch. I just thought it was very well done. I thought it had a cool story behind it. I thought Will Smith was fantastic in it. I know I'm kind of giving a weird movie an interesting plug here, but I just thought it was very well done because it fed off of the idea of, hey, this is how people would probably act if they had superpowers. And this is how people would react to people who have superpowers.
Yeah, because you would still, the people, just because you have superpowers doesn't mean your flaws automatically go away.
Exactly.
If you're a drunk, you're going to be a drunk superhero, right? If you're an alcoholic,
Drunk
you're going to be an
superhero.
alcoholic superhero, right? And
Absolutely.
where do supervillains come from? Come from people who have superpowers.
Exactly.
it's not-
Or a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It's usually what it
a
ends up
Lex
being.
Luthor.
It has to be someone who has a lot of money and a lot of time to try and take out one superhero. It's like, dude, can you come up with a different idea?
Right.
It's like you keep trying to take over the world and the same superhero keeps stopping you. Don't you think maybe it's time, why don't you make a miniature golf course? Because I think you might have a much happier and successful life if you have a successful chain of mini golf courses. Lex Luthor's fun putts or something like that.
It's like his head could open up, or
his
like
head
a mouth.
exactly.
And you could, put the ball into his mouth and he opens.
I don't understand. Lex Luthor, man. Why didn't you make a putt golf?
I don't think it's you being pessimistic. I know what I was like when I was a teenager. And I know exactly what I would have done if I had superpowers. Heck yeah, man. I'd have done them completely for myself. I'd be like, oh man, that guy just flipped me off. Man, I'd fireball his head, right? Or I'd be like, I knew exactly what I would totally show off.
Sure. So going based off of the same idea that I had from before, where you still have to work for it. So my original superpower that I picked was that you could slow down time, but you couldn't stop time. So there'd still be work involved if you had to do something. The offensive ability, I would kind of feel like that could be offensive or defensive, the slowing down of time. But the other ability that I would want to attach to that, I'd want the ability to learn quickly. Not
I like that.
know, but be able to learn really fast. The scene in The Matrix, and wow, we really made this nerdy all of a sudden. That's my fault. That scene in The Matrix where he learns kung fu, and it's just they plug a computer program in, and then it just goes and it just goes, oh, I know kung fu in 5 seconds. Not necessarily that fast, but to a certain degree where it's you can just fly through knowledge and
Right.
you retain all of it too. So you're just going through books and stuff and you learn, at an extreme rate, and you use that to your ability. You use that to tactically plan out things, and you use that to your own advantage.
I would love that. That's a great one.
I think that'd be a really cool superpower. And these now, of course, I'd love to fly, but I feel like these are much more intelligent answers.
I like
to a
those
very-
better. That's why I gave you 2, because usually, like you said, what superpowers do you have? Invisibility, flying. I'm like, okay, seriously, yeah.
I can understand where people come from though if they want to pick those other superpowers. And like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong
But invisibility is
with
such
wanting
a
to be able to.
niche power, right? After
Yeah,
a while, what are you using that for?
Unless you can be you could turn invisible and turn into liquid, so that way you could get through things too.
Right.
Not just not
we
just
trapped you in this hall. I turn invisible.
you're
still in the
you're
hall.
still in the
Yeah,
hall.
exactly.
We know you're in here.
We're
Where are you
just
gonna go?
spray it with bullets or fire, and
Exactly. You're against a brick wall. Where are you going? But that would be cool if you could just turn to liquid. You just hear liquid on the ground and you don't see them. You're just
what happened?
There's flooding in here somehow. Somebody's pipe busted. So I don't know. I have no idea. No, but that's it. But like I said, I think that's a great question. And again, as I was saying before, I don't think it's bad that people would want to answer, with your very generic flying, invisibility, super strength, things like that. But I definitely feel like you said before, I definitely feel like flying comes up the most. And I think it's just because we've seen people who are super strong. And
because
although we haven't
fly.
exactly mastered invincibility, I don't think people really care that much to be invisible. Or I'm sorry, I said invincibility. I meant invisibility. I don't feel like people care enough to be invisible all the time because it doesn't really help you that much.
People
like,
want to be seen, right? We have Twitter and Facebook, right? They're like, look at me,
that's
look at my
true.
selfie and my...
That's true.
Yeah.
No, it's very true.
With the
That's very
popularity
true.
and the attention.
But that being said, I do like your idea of the freak. I do think you should make this. I would definitely read the heck out of it. In fact, I have, and believe it or not, I don't even read graphic novels that often. A friend gave me a graphic novel that I'm going to read here in a little bit. I'll tell you more about it afterwards, but it's interesting. Well, and I do want to read The Watchmen at some point. I do want to read Watchmen at some point because I really enjoy the movie, and I didn't know anything about it before I watched the movie, so it's probably bad. But I'd be interested to see what the graphic novel was like prior to that. So, but yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts before we wrap up the superpower episode? Which, funny enough, last week's episode we introed with. No, it was 2 weeks ago. We introed with the superhero friends group.
That's true. We did the one that you're talking about. The one that went live. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Or
no, actually, it would be several weeks ago.
Well, it's going to be like 7 weeks ago by the time this episode is recorded. But no, I guess the only final word, Renee, I'm sorry this one was a lot nerdier than usual, but thanks for listening. That's all I have.
It's the hashtag show, so we throw in so many topics. If some of them happen to be nerdy, they happen to be nerdy.
That you're right. And I'm only half apologizing. Only half. Because there's still a part of me that likes graphic novels and occasionally will watch a superhero movie, which that's a whole nother conversation for another time.
They're fun.
They're fun, yeah. That's it's a great way of putting it.
That's why I did this. I wanted it to be fun more than anything.
Absolutely.
Like,
well,
hey,
I had
let's
fun.
Get in depth on the DC universe, man.
I hope you had fun because I had fun.
I did have fun.
Although I didn't like that I was Aquaman.
I know.
Can we please erase that from the episode and next episode you're taking the same test. And
although you are an excellent swimmer, I did text you one time when I was going through my broken ankle and I couldn't do it right. I could take the boot off, but I could go down and swim. So the first time I'd been swimming in years, and I'm trying to do these underwater laps, right? So all my laps are underwater, back and forth, back and forth. And I texted you after I was done because I'd water my nose, water my ears, water behind my eyeballs. My brain was like floating in this water. And I texted you and I said, Aquaman is underrated.
Very true. Very true. Well, no, I have nothing else to add to that.
All right. So we hope you enjoyed this episode of The Show with No Name. I'm B, a.k.a. Brendan. He's Daniel. We are here every week, and we really appreciate it if you leave us a review and a rating on iTunes. Helps out our ratings a lot and lets us know that you're listening. You can also catch us on YouTube. We are under the channel, The Show with No Name, not the actual person, The Show with No Name. And you can leave comments and questions for us there. And Daniel, is there anywhere else where they can get a hold of us?
Twitter as well, which I mentioned earlier in this episode. If you want to send us a question or feedback on any of the previous episodes, our handle is Texas Waffles. Very unique name, and we love it. So, although neither of us really understand Twitter, so maybe you could teach us how to Twitter. I'm just kidding. We just don't like it necessarily.
That'll be one of our superpowers, that I understand Twitter, and I'm a master at it.